Hello, welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH, which stands for Beyond Quantum Healing hypnosis session. In this case, the hypnotist was Lorrayne. You know, my two hypnotists of choice are Lorrayne and Carolyn, but in this case, it was Lorrayne. And we had a lot of fun because Lorrayne was asking questions I prepared in advance of the session, and also because we get final messages today. This was the end of the session. But before we move forward, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And also please do give a like to this video, and do let me know below the video what you think of it, if stuff resonates with you, if you've seen any craziness in your part of the world. And again, this is just question, because of course there is a lot of craziness. It's like impossible to miss, but at any rate, we like to keep it light around here. And before we move forward, I want to also remind you the way this works is that I'm going to be reading from a transcript, and when I refer to me, I'm referring to myself under hypnosis, because the answers are actually coming from the 25th. All right, I'm going to start reading here. Lorrayne, was the recent Texas school shooting a false flag event? Who was behind it? If so, is it working and achieving its goal? If it was a dark event, why is still this happening? Me. So it's referring to, if you're not in the US, you might have not heard of it. Then again, all the televisions are owned by the same group of people, so they probably do want other people to hear it. I know it's mostly the market, the target market is mostly Americans, because they're trying to get gun laws to be passed. They've been trying for a long time. That's why they create these events. And so I was curious to see what's going on with that, and why are we still seeing these things? Really, I mean, at the end of the day, it's, you know, these kids are in the middle, and it's just not good to see. I mean, we all dislike the stuff happening. So me. So yes, it was a false flag event. No, it did not achieve its goal. It's more the same. People are bored. And of course, the same people behind it, as every other false flag, is still the dark, still governments, still, you know, the secret agencies, because they're still trying to manipulate everything, still trying to gain control. It's a big problem for them that Americans are armed, because that's one reason why we don't have complete communist takeover. We did not have complete communist takeover during the pandemic. They did that, you know, in some of the states, but they weren't able to do it else everywhere. This was a failure. This was considered a failure. And so they had to hit. And again, they were hitting every base they have. It's always the same, right? There's nothing new. But no, they're not getting any more inroads, because they're done. It's all the same. It's not going to happen. How many school shootings have we had? And I'm not going to say this name, but it's the name of the current person who's in charge of the US on paper. So they're saying this person is not going to, whoever we're calling with the name of this person these days, because clearly it's been gone, the original has been gone for a long time, is not going to have any clout to do anything, which actually answers the question. But Clea had been very disappointed, and I think there might be a question about this, but Clea had been very disappointed because she keeps seeing laws being made without any input from people. And so it doesn't matter what the people want, and that the people are tired of things. These criminals, you know, these politicians keep going ahead as if nothing happened, putting in worse and worse laws. And she's like, well, this is very frustrating. I mean, it doesn't matter that we're awake and all of that. But the truth is, it does matter. A lot of the really overhauling laws, like for example, in the United States, gun laws, etc., they're not going to pass. And because again, even though they are in charge and they think they can do whatever they want, they behave as if they can do whatever they want. The truth is they can't. They still need the support of the essences, and the essences are not interested in this. We're not interested in even less and less freedom, because, you know, the second they remove the guns, we already know what would happen. We would be in China, basically, and they were laughing. I mean, just watch what's happening in California and New York over the last couple of years. I mean, the only reason that hasn't happened in the middle of the country is because people are heavily armed. Are you going to go, what are you going to do? Go farm to farm and tell them what to do? It's not going to end very well when you knock on their door unannounced and uninvited. So that's what's happening. That's why they're trying to remove the guns. And we kind of know this from the intel community. I mean, we know it. Anyone who does not want to be asleep can put 2 and 2 together. I mean, this is not like rocket science. It totally makes sense. So, but I'm glad that we're not going for this. But yes, it has been very frustrating for me to see that a lot of people around the world, a lot of politicians, doesn't matter how, I mean, at best, they're looking incompetent with everything they've done, but they're going ahead like nothing happened. It's like, let's do more of the same. And I'm like, oh my God, enough already. So I'm glad they're saying that, no, it's not really true. It does matter that we are awake, and it does matter that we're just not supporting these things anymore. Lorrayne, it's becoming a very old story. Okay, so they're talking about a comedian. And again, I'm not going to say the name because again, I don't like that, because we all have a role here. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, even if it was a person from the dark. It doesn't really make a difference. It's all about the roles that we play, right? So I'm going to call him Fred. And this is, and some of you might know actually who I'm referring to. This was somebody that I want to say was either the Oscars or the maybe Grammys he called in a speech, he called the actors pedo and then piles to their face. So I'm thinking, that's weird. How come he's still alive? Okay. And I like him, he's funny, but I thought it was very sketchy. I'm like, there's no way. I don't think I would have gotten away with it. Let's put it that way. So is Fred on the side of the light or the dark? Why did he openly call actors pedo and then the rest of the word is files? Me. Yeah, so they're telling me he's very gray and they were laughing. Yeah, so he's in the middle, but he's actually more towards the dark than the light. He's not quite at the end, like near the dark, but he's very much past the midline. And the reason he called them that is because he's playing this game where he feels, because again, people in the middle do feel that they want to be able to do both things. But in the meantime, he's very much, you know, his entire career has only been possible. Like any A-list person in Hollywood, you've had to compromise. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. Even Netflix buying his special, right? I mean, they're not going to support somebody who's truly problematic. So why does he get away with these things? It's because he is on that side and because he can. I mean, he's being, you know, they play the devil's advocate too among themselves. So they make it look like they already have the opposition. So you feel like, oh, this is taken care of. And you don't go in and actually change it for real. So really, what change is he making? He's not making any changes. He's still doing the same thing as before. We're still supporting the dark, you know, Hollywood, that type of thing. He's still distracting us. So does it mean it's a bad thing that he called it out? No, in fact, it's great. But again, he's guiding the narrative, you see. He's not a normal person saying no. I mean, he's still one of the elites saying, oh, you guys are bad. Yes, that's exactly what it is. This really spoke to me, Lorrayne. Well, and they're trying to normalize it. So normalize it. So it was part of that program too. Okay, what's the status with Ukraine? You said it would be a short event, but it's still happening. So I don't remember when this started. I think it was in April sometimes. And so I expected, they did tell us it would only last a little while. So I just wanted to check in. So here's the answer. Yeah, so we're almost done with that. Yeah, basically they're cleaning up. It's almost completely finished. They already changed the verbiage around it. It's not called a conflict anymore. It's called, what did they call it? You want to call it a disagreement or like an internal matter. It's already finished. It's no longer the narrative of the war. It's already finished. And yeah, so they're just finishing up the last few operations, but it's already done. And I was happy to hear that. Lorrayne, thank you. Are all world monarchies reptilian/dark? Are they gone? Why has Thailand been so fascist during the pandemic? And some of you may know that I've gone to Thailand for a week while I was here in Italy. And my goodness, I know what's been going on there during this entire, setup of the last 2 years. And so I was curious. Now I do know that the monarchy there was, not great. They even censor anybody in Thailand who doesn't speak highly about them. They can throw you in jail. So you already know they got something to hide. Me. Yeah, so they are the very vast majority, the big ones, the powerful ones for sure. And they are reptilians. The ones that are not are the ones that are heavily controlled. So same difference. And in Thailand, absolutely reptilian family. So yes, that's why they were so fascist, because they can. Lorrayne, are the reptilians gone that were the monarchies? Me. Yeah, a lot of them are gone, yes. So this cleanup has not just happened in the UK. This cleanup has been ongoing pretty much everywhere, like for example, in Sweden and Belgium, other places, not just even in Thailand, actually, that's been cleaned up. Lorrayne, thank you. Why have some countries been more fascist than others in general? Me. Yeah, so we talked about this. We have talked about some countries having a different setup than others, like a group of essences will go to a country to experience certain things. And so some countries have a group of essences that have a particular history, where a group of essences wants to experience certain things. We had, for example, talked about people in Australia felt guilty, so they had to go through something very harsh in order for them to feel like they were paying their debts, so they could move on, which they now are. And same thing with countries like, for example, like Italy, Austria, etc. All their essences there, they do very much carry guilt. In Germany, for example. So they had to kind of purify themselves through the suffering, okay? Through this very imposing way to change vibration, really. But there are other countries, like in the United States, where we didn't feel the need, at least at a collective level, to go through that. So that's why we've had different history in that sense, different experience with the pandemic. Lorrayne, thank you. Okay, it feels disheartening that no matter how many of us want things to change, the criminals in charge still make more evil laws. We feel powerless. Why is this still happening? And the reason this is a bit of a repetitive question is because they mentioned the answer to this previously in this session, but I had it already written, and Lorrayne makes it a point to ask every question I've written down, which I think is great. She's awesome at this. Me, yeah, so we just answered this. Basically, it's not strictly true. Although it feels like that, it looks like that, like they just go forward no matter what. The truth is they're not getting everything they want. If it was for them, we would be in a very different situation, and we're not. So despite what they say, actually life on the ground, if you wish to call it that, is getting better. Again, the vibration is lighter and life is getting better. It's getting easier for a lot of people. So I'm glad she asked the question again, because they always add to their answer. So that was good. All right, I left in here something that might be of interest to you that comes from the section of personal questions that I had, because something strange happened to me. I never really lose anything, but I lost a pair of sunglasses in Italy. And I tell you, I remember everything I did with those sunglasses that day. There's no reason they should have vanished. So here was the question. I'm just reading in case you're curious. Lorrayne, CLEA'S sunglasses just vanished. Who took them and what happened? Why did this happen? Me. So they're telling me fairies. This is weird because CLEA does not really, and they were laughing because I don't really believe in fairies, but the sunglasses did vanish. They're telling me that it was just a fun thing, that she feels like she's losing things. So she has been feeling like she's going to lose things to go to the earth. So they took something that meant a lot to her, not emotionally, but the fact that she loved these sunglasses, and they just decided it's okay. Even if something disappears, it's okay. Yeah. So that was the lesson there. So I thought that was a curiosity I wanted to share with you. And it just so happens, Lorrayne also had a question around something similar. So I will read that to you. Lorrayne, thank you. I have a personal question myself. I have a gold nugget that my father gave me when I was 16 that I wore the majority of my life. When I was traveling in the travel trailer for the 4 years, I took it off. I didn't wear it every day. And when I got here to my house, I hadn't worn it. And then one day I decided to wear it, and then the chain that it was on broke. And I put it in my pocket. and I cannot seem to find it. Is it somewhere in my house? What has happened to my gold nugget? Me. Yeah, no, it disappeared. It's not in your house. It disappeared. It just disappeared like Clea's glasses. It vanished. It was taken is what it is. But it wasn't taken by a person. That's what we mean by it disappeared. It's almost like these things cross dimensions to show you certain things. It's like when you're ready to move on from something, like in Clea's case for the sunglasses, as we've explained, that it was for her to notice that it's okay. And even when we lose things that we think they would really want, it's okay. Even though Clea does not take well to losing things, especially things that she likes. And that's the case with you. You were at a time where they were showing you, because you see, you took it off. You were supposed to be done, but then you went looking for it again. So that's why it was gone. That's why basically you wanted it gone. It's like, no, we're not doing this anymore. We're not going backwards. So even though you may have loved that, it doesn't mean that you disliked it or you were over that period of your life. That's why it was gone. And it was for you to see, to learn that. And Lorrayne says, that makes sense. Thank you. And here we're going to the final messages. This was the end of the session. And this is our habit to ask for final messages. So Lorrayne, final message for Clea. And I left this in because I think this will apply to many of you. Me, you are feeling the vacuum. That's why you're feeling this way, where you're like, you believe, but you're like, okay, so what? And what's happening? And why are we still here? And that kind of thing. You're feeling the vacuum because really there's nothing else. The energy has gone out of here. There's nothing else to do here. This is why you're feeling this way. This is not to say it denies what you believe. Is that it does not say it denies what is to happen. It's just, you are actually just feeling the fact that your attention is mostly not here anymore. And so yeah, everything is still on track. So don't worry about it. Just enjoy the last few days. And as far as all these things that are dragging you down and you're doing, it's all right. Just deal with them. You don't have to be on vacation 24/7. It's okay to deal with 3D stuff till the end. It's not a big deal. And again, it's a lesson, right? It's the things, 3D can be very dragged out because it is so dense. It moves so slowly. So just deal with it. Don't worry about it. So I want to share this because again, I feel like I am in suspension. I feel like I'm almost like in a tank floating. That's how it feels. And so I'm glad that they said this. And as for the 3D stuff, is that I've been trying to disconnect and get some stuff finished to where it doesn't bother me anymore. And it's dragging out like in a very disconcerting manner. And they're saying, just deal with it and it's okay. Because I really wanted a period of my life, even if just a week, where I had nothing suspended, nothing that's like, would technically require my attention, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So whatever, it's what it is. Lorrayne, final message for me. So for Lorrayne, me. So Lorrayne, you are done. You've been trying to distract yourself, but you really are jumping at the bits. You're ready to go and you're done. If you want to, just stop doing everything, even things that you've done to distract yourself. It's okay because you already know. You already know everything that's going on. You already know everything. Why you're doing the things that you're doing. So at this point, you can just do nothing. It's really up to you. You keep up with certain things. You still do things like putting extra effort into them. You could just be lazy. You don't have to do the things the way you did them before, even if it's things that have to do with your house or whatever. Basically, really nothing matters anymore because we're living here. I do love when they confirm these things. Lorrayne, yes, I keep thinking I would like to do something with my house, but then I think, what's the point? I'm leaving. Final message for the 12,000, me. Yes, so the 12,000 are feeling very, very bored because it's kind of a letdown. Now, not let down as in disappointment, but a letdown as in letting your energy finally come down. And so we're not used to this. We haven't done this in a long time. So when you feel as one of the 12,000, you feel a little bit, again, this vacuum we're talking about, like you're not really sure what's going on. You feel like you're a little aimless. That's why this is happening. It's not that there's anything wrong going on. It's that you simply really don't know what to do with yourself. And you are laughing here because you're not really fully on vacation. You're not on New Earth yet, but you're done with your work. And you're like, okay, what do I do? You're like, twiddling your thumbs. And so that's what you're feeling. And we're especially talking with Clea because she's feeling this a lot, but we know that she's not the only one feeling this way right now. Lorraine, I'm not at 12,000 and I'm feeling that. She was laughing. Final message for humanity at large, me. Yeah, so it's done. Again, the last few bits, what we have been telling you to enjoy, the truth is all of you feel exactly what's happening. So all of you are going to feel a little bit, it's not going to feel comfortable in many ways. You're going to feel that the energy is changing. You're going to feel a little bit, again, like you're floating between different things, being pushed one way or the other, for the simple reason that there's just all chaos. Chaos of like stuff collapsing and the energy changing. You're going to feel this. And so it's not easy necessarily. It feels very directionless. It feels very floaty, like ungrounded. But it's not. We want you to know it's not a sign of anything bad. It is a sign of the fact that there's really nothing else holding us up. There's nothing else really grounding us. Because we're out of here, there's nothing more to hold on to. And because of this, we feel very light, as in weightless. Like we don't really have a footprint in reality anymore, because we don't. We're already like, our attention is already out of here. And so it does feel a little bit uncomfortable. It will feel uncomfortable in that sense. Nothing tragic, nothing traumatic, but it will feel uncomfortable. You won't feel just all elated all the time or serene all the time. You're going to feel that things are just not as grounded as they were before, not as real as they were before. And this can be uncomfortable for a lot of people. Lorraine, thank you. Final message for the aliens in the multiverse. Me. Okay, aliens. They were laughing. We are really looking forward to moving on. So we really appreciate what you're doing, but we really want to go. If there's any way you can speed this up, we are so done. And it's very difficult to be on this planet. That's already a goner, basically, for us. And I know you're doing your best. And obviously, this is no criticism, but we would love it if there was any way that you could speed this up. And because even the stuff we're bombarded with from every side is very uncomfortable and it's very dejecting. And we know that you understand this. So again, not to rush you, but if there's anything else that you could do today rather than tomorrow, we would really appreciate that. We are so ready. And they were laughing. Sorry, I'm looking out there because I thought I saw my mom. Maybe it was a ghost. All right, Lorraine. Final message from the 25th from Source to all of us. Me. So there really is no point at this point in really saying any more about this planet. We have said everything really that was meant to guide you and inspire you on your next iteration, which is going to be a blast. You guys are going to love it. No matter where you're going, you're going to love it. This is going to be so much fun for everybody. It has been a worthwhile experiment, just even because of this, because of how much more appreciation we're going to have for our next iteration. And so we're excited to connect when you get to New Earth. And at that point, you'll have direct connection, direct awareness of your connection. And things are going to be a lot easier. You don't have to interpret things anymore. We'll be speaking directly. Lorraine, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, time to come back to this present space. All right, so this was the end of the session. And again, this is for sure going to be the last session, unless again, something happens and we're not leaving. But again, I have no plan B. That's what I'm planning on doing. I want to go to New York. So I'm done with this. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this session. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed getting this information from the 25th as much as I have. I know it's made a huge difference in my life, and I hope it has made a positive difference in your life as well. So thank you so much for watching this video and also following this channel. And I will see you on the other side.